Okay.
Yes. Okay, so hi everyone. I am here today with the amazing Dayonna Tucker, and I just wanted to just introduce her to the world. And we've been working together for quite a while and also in the Boundless Blueprint. But I want you to talk about your experience first off, just introduce yourself and kind of like what you're doing, how you got into this, anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like Tawn said, my name is Dayonna. I'm playing around with the artistic name of Unite. I think that might stick. I'm a Reiki practitioner, garment constructor, performer. I
Mhm.
I'm a musician. I'm not currently practicing anything, but there's a lot of different things that I like to get into. Um, and I kind of came to sewing particularly when I was 12. I got my first sewing machine. I asked for it for my birthday. And me and my mom went to Joann's and got my machine, which I still have that machine in my like little
Oh,
um,
wow.
carrier for my thread and all kind of stuff and all my notions. And it came really naturally to me.
Yeah.
My great grandmother was a seamstress. My great great aunt was a seamstress. My great great grandmother was a seamstress. So it feels really natural. Like it feels like a way to connect to them, ancestrally.
That's
And
beautiful.
so that's how I kind of got into it. I watched my granny sew and crochet and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Cool. And just to talk a little bit to everyone, like, where were you, I guess, before we met? And then, like, where were you then? And then what have you done, I guess, in the Boundless Blueprint? And yeah, talk about that experience a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually met Tawn through community Reiki offering that Minka Brooklyn did. And I was in New York and doing a domestic study abroad program through
Yeah.
Stanford. And discovered Reiki. It really helped me ground because New York was really intense for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I knew I needed that in my life once I got back to campus. So that's how I met Tawn. Tawn became my Reiki practitioner. I would tap in with Tawn when I felt like I needed some Reiki, and honestly, like that lasted from like 2019 through
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic until I became Reiki certified. And
Mm-hmm.
then earlier this year, I kept seeing Tawn post about Boundless Blueprint and energy management and all those things. And at first I was like, like calendaring, all that stuff. I can do that.
Yeah.
But there was something in me that was like, I think you should invest in this for yourself. And I saw the last hooker was the newsletter. I got your newsletter and you were like,
Mm.
come to the Boundless Blueprint. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I signed up. Well, I did the form to see if we were a
Yeah.
match. I
Yeah.
had a feeling that we would be.
Yes.
So, and before that point, so that was like what, March?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was
February,
coming up
March.
on my 25th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something that felt really special about this year.
Yeah.
And I had known that the 9 to 5 was like not for me, but I
Yeah.
needed to be consistent enough in building out my Reiki practice and my garment construction practice
Mm-hmm.
enough so that that could be something that I could transition into, because I knew that's what I wanted to do full time. And actually, my life was that before I started working where I worked before I quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I know we'll get to that. I was doing Reiki all day. I was sewing all day, and I had a garden, and I was eating well. And then I was like, I gotta get a job. I can't survive like this.
Yeah.
So my body the whole time just really wanted to get back to that ease and to that practice. And what I was missing was that belief in myself that I could do something that I love and also generate, income.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was before, like this, trying to figure out my exit, or a plan to get a plan together.
Right.
And you really offered that. And I'm so glad that I was able to participate in the Boundless Blueprint because it helps me do a 180.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about that experience of just being in it. Cause I saw you from literally day one. And it was just when you came, there was all these like relationships. There was, there's also like your home. So talk a little bit about that. Like what was going on then? And then what did the experience, what was that like for you? Now that I'm like finally hearing it from your side, because I'm like, I kind of have it from my side, what I see from you, but I want to hear from your side.
Yeah. What I really enjoyed was you had an approach that I wasn't expecting. I thought we were going to, because at first it was called Let's Get Organized, right?
Yep,
That was the...
Yep, you got it.
So I was coming with this, like organizational standpoint. But I knew because you were a Reiki practitioner and you lived in that, magical world that I also lived in, I knew there were going to be some elements of that. So the first thing I really appreciated was chronotypes.
Yes.
And I thought something was wrong with me because I could not do a 9-to-5, like,
talk to them about that.
My energy does not sync up with that. And I think I'm the lion.
Yeah.
I think I'm a lion person. So I'm an early riser. I'm up at like 5 a.m.
You are.
And when I'm up, I'm like, I want to go get shit done. I just want to do something. And then I kind of wane and then I peak again and then I wane off. So it's helped me restructure how I want my day to be set up, anticipate when I need a nap because I need a nap. Okay, cool. And that was it felt like a real good confirmation because I spent so much of my time trying to figure out, okay, girl, why do you lose focus at that midday mark? Like a lot of people do. So that was really beautiful. The other exercise that I really loved in the beginning that we did was we went through all the categories of life.
Yeah.
So career, friendships, family,
finances,
all the things I can't think of them all right now. Finances, all this stuff. And rating your experience with it. What do you like that you do in these areas? What could you do better? And I realized that I was giving my energy to a lot of places in my life that weren't my top. And also I put a lot of time and energy into my spiritual practice, which I could actually wane off a little bit because I felt like that's where all my energy needs to be at. So I really appreciate that because it helped me put my values into perspective.
Yeah.
And where I was spending time and energy where I wish I could get some back, specifically with like friends and family.
Yeah.
Like where can I get some time back in my week to put towards building that, those businesses and those hobbies, that I wanted to invest in. And then the last thing it's not the last thing, but in this question, you put together this beautiful packet of the North Star. So like figuring out kind of like, hierarchy of needs, but
yep, exactly. It's like
having the North Star at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, actually I could go on about all the things that you did. That was really helpful for me to figure out, I have like a mission statement for my life. And if something does not go towards that mission statement, then like it doesn't need to be happening.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I liked is that we made a treasure chest of the things that I could be doing instead of screen time. And that was really helpful. And there's many, many other things, but I would say the Boundless Blueprint really helped me to get not just organized and like, here's my calendar. We actually spent very little time on calendar. We're talking about like, where can your energy go that really aligns with what you want to do in your life in this moment? Is it leading towards something bigger? And that really helped me get clear and then realize like, I can't work this job. So I actually quit during the Boundless Blueprint in like May, like towards the end of the Boundless Blueprint in May, but I didn't quit for real.
Yeah, talk to me about that because I saw this whole progression. So you were finished around what, April-ish? We were done in April, May. Like that was the time frame. And then at this time I could see literally you saved up a lot of time. First off, I thought was impressive was you advocated for yourself. Like it went like a lot of our discussions. Talk to me about that. Like it became like you were starting to be super verbal about a lot of things that you want. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was an incident at work in March where I had asked to be remote Mondays and Tuesdays. So all other departments at the museum were able to work remote Monday and Tuesday, except my department, which is development department. And I knew that the direction that my spirit was trying to go in, I really needed to have that time. It would save me money. It would give me like 2 hours a day back from commute. I really need to have this opportunity too. And I asked my boss and she told me no. So I was like, okay, this is towards the beginning of the Boundless Blueprint. And I'm like, okay. So towards the end, I was like, I gotta get out of here. My body was literally rejecting the space. So I was like, look, I'm quitting. I can stay through the end of June. That was a 2-month notice. And then, or I can stay through August if I can work from home Mondays and Tuesdays. And like, talk about being gaslit, because then they're like, oh, Dayonna, just ask what you need. Dayonna, you guys got to take your vacations. And I took a vacation. And it was like, nobody acknowledged the fact that I asked 2 months ago. And they told me no. And I had to have an ultimatum. So then I kind of got, they're like, well, how about October? How long do you think you can stay?
I remember
and
that
I was like,
one.
Just give me 2 weeks. Like, let me do it for 2 weeks and I can tell you honestly. And they're like, well, I need to know today. So I was like, okay, you can stay October if you want to have something to tell my boss. That's fine. But it wasn't like I was bound to it, but it felt that way. And I really appreciated this experience because it had me work out how like committed and like locked in I feel to a job that does not feel that way about me. I'm very much so replaceable. And in these conversations, it's really important that I advocate for myself because this is business. This is a business negotiation. And yes, I do have personal relationships, or it feels like I have personal connections and relationships with these people. But ultimately, it's not our relationship that's going to, come out on top. It's going to be what's going to work best for the institution. So I was a little flip-flopped about that. And I had to get really clear because that's the way I like to do work. That's the kind of communities I like to be a part of where we're considering our relationships to one another, above what's happening. Business transaction wise, right? So that was a really beautiful lesson for me to go through because I didn't prioritize myself. I also prioritized the institution because I felt like I was prioritizing the relationship. So I kind of got dwindled into staying until October. And then I had that conversation with my boss after, and I was like, okay, I think I can stay a little longer. After the 2 weeks, I was like, I think I can stay a little longer. And I was thinking like maybe just through the end of the year and then just start 2024 off clean slate, working for myself. And then she was like, well, if you want to stay, I need a longer commitment. I need like a 1 to 2 year commitment from you. I mean, talk about dizzy, talk about gaslight. And it's so funny because I was just at a meeting with one of my good mentors from college. And I was like, yes, girl, I'm quitting in October. This is the plan. We're doing overalls. Then we're doing conduit garments and all the stuff that we discussed. And I literally an hour later, I was in that meeting and verbally committed to staying to October 2024 because they were saying how, we have this candidate and we told them that they were going to like replace you. So if we're going to let this candidate go, then we need more of a commitment from you. And I was like, okay. So that was June. And I fell off after that. I could feel the disappointment in my body. I didn't trust myself. So I had to earn my trust again over the next 2 months.
To yourself.
Because I felt like I was so close, to myself. I was so close and I betrayed myself in that moment. And even though it felt like spirit had their hands in it a little bit still. But ultimately, I was like, ooh, Dayonna, we were so close to freedom and you just sabotaged the fuck out of that. I felt so bad. It was really heart-wrenching. It was gut-wrenching. For 2 months, I was just trying to work through those emotions. And then by August, I was like, I got to get the hell up out of here because stuff started to go down, and within other employees, the 10th person left in a year. And the way that went down was so ridiculous to me that I was like, I cannot work for these people because I'm more relationship based. So what happens to any of my colleagues happens to me. And that's the way I work. I don't know any other way to do that, but to be a people person. And I don't respect when there's lying happening, when I feel like I can't trust leadership. It just wasn't a good environment for me. And then I started to discover that I was actually having panic attacks. So I've actually started doing Reiki more consistent with you when I got diagnosed with panic disorder in like 2019. So I thought because I wasn't like having those huge panic attacks that I wasn't panicking, but panic starts like way before you're hyperventilating and like, crying in the club and whatnot, like it's way before that. So I was really feeling how I would leave the house, and as I walked towards my commute, just getting closer to the museum, my body would literally go into fight or flight, and I would stay like that all day. And when I leave, I would spend the rest of my day releasing all that energy that I experienced for 8 hours. So that was like taking a real big toll on me. And I was like, okay, gotta get up out of here because this is kind of nuts. So I gave my full-time 2-week notice in September. That was like, I don't know, my last full-time day was September 22nd. Yeah. And then I said, I'll stay on through the end of October. And then I was like, no, I can't stay on.
You're like, I can't. Yeah.
My body is like, you're so kind. You're so kind, girl, but no. But no.
Yeah.
So, and the beautiful thing is I was on a call with you for our monthly check-ins after, and I was like, okay, Tawn, like I kind of got this opportunity that came through. That just fell into my lap at the current company I work for. Yeah. Part-time, paying almost the same amount that I would be getting paid working full-time at my current job for 20 hours a week. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I could spend the other time, really getting into these, into Reiki and into, my garment construction practice that would open up that Boundless Blueprint. So I was like, look at that. Look at spirit making a way. And it wasn't even confirmed. And I was like, okay, Tawn, can we pull some cards? Because I'm really like, I feel it. Yeah. It's just not a visible light, but I feel like it's mine. And I quit that week. So, yeah.
I remember seeing it. I'm like,
and it is my job now.
Yeah. So talk to me about now. Like, what are you doing? How are you looking at your day? And I know if you look at the background there, y'all can see the beautiful garments that this is created by you. Yeah. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So right now, my part-time work is at Oregon Shakespeare Festival as an education engagement consultant. So I'm doing a lot more of that brainy work. Yeah. And honestly, I'm really a nerd. I study African-American studies at Stanford. So I try to be given like humanitarian artist, Yeah. But ultimately, I love numbers. And that's why I like garment construction, honestly, because sewing is straight math. It's just math. And geometry, and I got to take your measurements and I got to turn it into something. I have seam allowance, and if I do too much seam, it's really just math, and that's why I really like it, because I'm really a nerd. Yeah. So it's really, this job is more like strategic work and reports and marketing and things like that. And I found that, and the law of attraction is so real. Reality creation is so real. Yeah. Because one of the last tasks that I had in my previous job was doing the strategic plan for membership, because I was a membership manager.
Right.
Over the next 5 years. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is making me so giddy. Like, I love strategic planning. I'm pulling reports from before, and I'm like, I'm making projections for the future. And like, how are we going to get there? Okay, well, we can do this by how about we expand our renewal notice this year? And then add a mail touch point here, and that should increase it by this amount. I'm like, ooh, and then like, let's execute. But what I realized is that I'm not even going to be able to do this because, nonprofit work, I'm doing 5 jobs at once. I didn't work over 40 hours a week, but the thoughts of having to hold so many things at once is so exhausting. I just didn't want that. So now I'm doing one thing.
Love it.
It's a beautiful team. I get great energy from the team that I worked with, and my housemate was the one who kind of put me on. So I trust her to make sure I'm in a space that served her and what also served me. Like the reason why she moved on was, she got another opportunity that was more fitting for her in her life. And that was that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm up to as far as like that's 20 hours that is going to keep the expenses going and providing me that soft cushion to
I love that
take a leap on this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So what we're working on right now is trying to launch these, we're launching some overalls, hopefully. And I'm using this tentative language. So overalls will be launching in early 2024. And specifically this concept of conduit garments.
Yes.
So
please talk to us about
conduit garments. Yes. Conduit garments basically pull in my healing practitioner work and my love for reality creation, which really goes hand in hand with energy healing and garment construction. Yeah. So I also did costume design for a long time. So that's also in the mix. So thinking about how, when we create characters and we embody a character that can help us step into and help reality reflect back to us the life that we're trying to embody. So for me, this year I was trying to embody, the character of someone who safely and securely moved into full-time artistry. Yes. And even though I'm not full-time artistry, I work for myself because my day is whatever I want my day to be. I can do my contract work when I want to do my contract work. My meetings are when my meetings are. I sew when I want to sew. My Reiki clients are when my Reiki clients feel the best for me to be at. So I think that's the feeling that I wanted, right? Yes. And I think that's why it's so important to focus on the feeling, because when you think about what you want, sometimes you don't know how expansive something else could be. Right. It kind of rules out all of the possibilities. When you focus on the feeling, then all kinds of things can come your way. I wouldn't have chosen this for myself. I wouldn't have like, oh, do you want to do contract work? No, I don't. I just want to sew all day. Yeah. But this still feels good. So conduit garments. So when I think about reality creation, specifically thinking about P the Fairy, she's they are I don't know what they call themselves, but I think they're like an extraordinaire, an extraordinary artist and content creator. And they kind of help people move through the different characters that they want to embody and create the realities that they want via timeline jumping and the offerings that they have. But they kind of move from the notion that like, we're in a video game and you get to choose your character, and the character that you choose, that's the kind of experience you're going to have. So I'm like, okay, this is just like costumes. You put your costume on. It's like, oh, I really can be this character now. And you embody it and it feels good. And it changes from hair, from makeup it helps you to really embody those characteristics that you're working on as an actor. So I was like, okay, let's bring that into, everyday wear. And this is the concept I've been working on since 2020 for my honors thesis. Specifically thinking about Black women and how we can bring in a reality for Black femmes and Black women that is supportive and ease-filled and has that and invites in that freedom for us. Yeah. So conduit garments, what we're going to do is we're going to sit together. We're going to do some journaling. We're going to ask some questions. We're going to do some Reiki. We're going to do some timeline jumping to figure out, okay, where are you aiming at? Are you trying to invite in more love into your life? Do you need more boundaries? Do you need more? You want more finances to come in? Do you want to be more open-minded? And let's think about the way you would feel. And then let's think about what silhouettes, what colors, what textures, help you to sensually, in a tactile way, tap into that energy. And then when you go out into the world wearing this garment, it's just a way to help you embody this character so that reality can start to reflecting that intention back to you. So with the overalls, those are just like, I'm divining a theme that I feel like we need in the world. Right now, I would say we need some nervous system regulation. There's so much going on right now. Sending love to everybody experiencing this. Yeah, it's just a lot of grief, a lot of heaviness going on. So sending love to everyone in Palestine. But right now, I would do a collective, probably conduit garment overall on like nervous system regulation and grief. And then I would choose the colors, textures,
Love
feels,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
herbs, things that I felt like would help infuse that energy. And then when a person wears it,
Yeah.
it's not like you're automatically not going to feel any grief, or you're automatically gonna have your nervous system regulated.
Yeah.
The world reality, the universe is going to reflect back to you the places where you're doing really good in that particular area, and then where you got some work to do to invite that in, you know. So it's a healing tool. It's not a magic wand. So like, don't come over here get no conduit garment if you're not ready to do the work, because it's gonna have you doing some work. You know, this is not a bippity boppity boo.
No, not at all.
So that's the overalls, and then I would want to work with people one-on-one for the particular intentions that they want to have a unique, one-of-a-kind garment.
I love that. So the really cool thing about conduit garments, I think, is they always say, like, for you to start new habits or do new things, is that you have to imagine yourself as that person and embodying those characteristics. But what you do, and I think it's so beautiful, is that you make it, like you said, tactile. Like this is why, like, also the Boundless Blueprint is like, we also do like practical stuff because you have to touch it. You have to do these small things.
Yeah.
And I love that your conduit garment is that, where it's like, okay, I'm going to work with you and we're going to figure out, you know, where are you going, and I'm going to create this for you. And then through that, you get to make the changes that you want. And I think that's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm super excited. I'm of the belief that, like, Tony K. Bombara says that the most basic revolutionary unit is the self. And then I kind of see us all like Legos. We all get to energetically vote for what we see in the world based on what our internal realities are. So if we all can shift just a little bit every day, that we shift a little bit, the collective shifts a little bit. So that's my offering to the collective. That's my activism, is, you know, through Reiki, through these garments, to support people in that space, to support myself in that space. Because I make garments for myself. Oh, I didn't put my coat out. I got to bring the coat.
Yeah. Definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I make garments for myself to support myself into these shifts too. So that's what I feel like the purpose, the North Star of what I do is like, okay, how can I, through my own healing and supporting others, help us shift a little bit?
Yeah.
And those add up.
No, they do. It's a cumulative thing. Like, I've seen a lot of your creations through Instagram. I'm like, oh, these are nice. Actually, I want to, can you show us?
Let's get into it.
Yeah, I want to see. Okay. I want to see. Okay,
so everything isn't in here, obviously. But this is something I'm working on right now. For some reason, I've had like a real, like,
oh, that's cool.
Let me make this. I'm having a thing with blue and orange.
I love
it. And I think that's the support that I need right now. You know, sacral and like communication and throat. Like, how can I let my desires
I love that.
forge the path for me? And then how can I communicate that, you know, to others? Like, oh, this is what I need. Yeah. Or I think I need some space, or I think I need to work remotely. So I think that's probably why I'm trying to see these colors. So this is something I'm working on right now. It's a corset that, you know.
Oh, beautiful.
You know, that little latch up in the back. But it's going to actually be a dress. So think of, let's see, I have it right here. This denim going underneath it.
Oh!
And it's like, I kind of stopped for a little bit because I'm like, it's giving like Mario Kart. But I think once I finish it, I was like, okay, maybe it won't look so like, you know.
No. I can already see it.
Gamey.
I can already see it.
So this is something I'm trying to finish up. I'm not the best at finishing things. So that's something that's a character I'm trying to tap into next. Yes. It's like, okay, how do I actually finish stuff that I'm making for myself?
Yeah.
This was something I made for my last opening reception at my previous place of employment.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
This was a one piece. It was a one piece. And then I wore it to my first opening reception there. So I was like, let me change it to something new. The current exhibition was about color, and it was called Spectrum. Yeah. So I wanted to have something kind of colorful to match the exhibition. It's not lined, as y'all can see, because trying to do this with a full-time job. Tawn, I know you helping the folks do it, but let me tell you, that one was a little hard for me.
Yeah.
Mainly because I would get home and be so exhausted.
Yeah. It takes up a lot of your
from
energy.
that, environment.
Mm-hmm. Oh my
But
God,
so I wouldn't be finishing things. This is my Beyonce Renaissance outfit.
Yes, let's see that one. That's beautiful.
This is faux crocodile.
Look at the work, y'all.
I had never worked with this before, so it was definitely a learning curve.
Yeah.
But it was just a cute little skirt and a nice corset that went with it,
Oh, that's so cute.
Giving, alien superstar.
I love it. That's actually one of my favorite songs on the album.
It's one of my favorites too.
Yeah. It just has a good beat to it.
For real. And then this, I did not iron, but this was a one piece I made for the Engage Symposium that we did at the museum. I was a panelist with some really cool designers and stylists. So this was my one piece, and I love this fabric. It's orange and blue again.
Yes.
And it's given, 70s.
Yeah.
Because the panel was Jason Rimber and Diarra Busso. Mm-hmm. And Diarra makes her fabric. She's a mathematician, and she makes her fabric designs with equations.
You know what?
And this felt kind of...
You blew my mind in the last couple of moments where I was just like, I never thought sewing and like pattern work and all of that included math. It just didn't occur to me. Like it really didn't occur to me until you said it. I'm like, and geometry? Oh, like I guess...
It's like architecture. You have to figure out how to make these things. Like with a corset, it needs to sit up. It has to. You want it to cinch in the right places.
Yes.
You want it to hold you, but you got to have some ease so your arm can move.
Yes.
Your legs can move. It's a real science.
It's science. It's innovating. It's inventions. It's creation. I love it.
And I'm going to grab this coat real quick so I can show you this coat.
And I think that coat is really... Oh, wait, another coat.
So this is my... this is the first thing I made for myself and actually really wore. Was this coat. So it's made from...
Oh, that is so awesome. Yeah.
There were two outfits that I had took apart to make this coat because I just didn't like them anymore. I would make things for myself and wear it once and then not want to wear it again and take it apart and make something else. And I'm trying to stop doing that. But I don't know. So the back of the coat has Erykah Badu on it because I was trying to call in her energy of... She's like the pinnacle, artist in my head.
Yes,
same
here.
So much. I love how original she is. She don't always do what she want to do. She samples her own work and makes it better. She just continues to improve on herself over time.
I love that.
And she's so funny. So I want to invoke that energy. For real. I was trying to call in that energy for myself.
Do you know what's so funny? Erykah Badu was actually one of the person that I looked up to when I wanted to quit my job. I was like, she only tours for 6 to 8 months out of the year. And then the rest of I don't want to be an artist, but I was like, wait, she gets 4 to 5 months off doing whatever she wants. I'm like, that's what I want in my life.
For real.
She's a good person.
And she's still a doula. She has her energy practice. She has her healing practice, and she also has her art practice.
She's a Reiki practitioner.
Her healing practice too. Her art is so healing. Her music is so healing.
Yeah, I love her.
So I had to call in some Badu energy because that's my girl.
Yes. Wait, now I'm like, can people buy that?
So soon they can. I mean, not that. That's my code. But But when it comes to the custom garments, what I'm feeling called to do right now is to really just build out my wardrobe, just to figure out what is my process of conduit garments really?
Yeah.
How do I have that relationship with myself? And
I love that.
What is my signature silhouettes and the styles that I like, just to get more of a grasp on my design style. and then I want to offer things later. But it's still not clear to me. I think after I go through that process of making some more stuff for myself, I'll be clear about if it's a practice for me that I like, or if it's something that I want to offer people. And I don't know if I'm self-sabotaging, like, oh, I don't want to make clothes for other people. There's deadlines and you know. But I think it might be more self-sabotaging there than that I don't want to. So I just want to navigate through that. So I do think at some point next year, I'll be offering custom garments for folks.
Amazing.
And having some things available. Overalls for sure.
Yeah. Like, okay, let's get into it. Tell us about the overall process, what you're thinking, and also how people can start finding and following you as you kind of expand also day, eve, night, and getting into that space too, where you're showing things off.
Yeah. So where I'm in the overall process is patterning. So I'm in my math mode of trying to figure out how do I create an overall pattern that is, you know, gender nonconforming, that anybody who got into the overall will probably feel comfortable in it. And that is cute on everybody. And that's hard. You know, I'm cute on most people. I can't. The number one rule of business is that everybody is not your customer. So, but agreed. As far as body types out, I want anybody who felt like they would gravitate towards having a pair, that they could feel comfortable and good in it. Yeah. So that's where my brain is at right now, is getting this pattern together.
What does that process
look like? And then once
like
the pattern is together, so drafts on top of drafts. And if I showed y'all this first draft, oh my God, it was so ridiculous. I was like, how the hell did I think that this pattern was going to be the one? Because it didn't even fit me. So from there, I was like, okay, I'm going to like expand it here 2 inches and drop it down. And like, I probably want way more space in the crotch area. You know, it doesn't matter. The top part doesn't matter as much across any body type, because I don't have to do sleeves and, you know, think about chest area and stuff like that. You know, it's just going to tie together. It'll adjust itself. Yeah. So I want to make sure I concentrate getting the pant portion really good and making it nice and roomy for everyone long enough. Because a lot of people, you know, complain about jeans are hard, like bottoms are hard. Like it's either it fits you on your waist or it's not long enough and all those things. So just trying to make sure there's options for people to get longer versions and shorter versions. And then when I launch it, I'm just going to do 20, because I also want to see, like, do I want to sell 20 overalls? Yeah. And eventually we'll take this to manufacturing. And then when I get the garments back, I'll just do the Reiki infusion portion and like, making sure the intent is nice into it.
Talk to us about Reiki infusion.
Yes. So, you know, I mean, if y'all already messing with Tawn, then y'all need to get into her Reiki infused incense. Okay. So Reiki is a really beautiful energy that a practitioner can, you know, pour into anything, into situations. You know, I've been sending Reiki to folks in Gaza and Palestine, you know, lately. Sending Reiki to my family, distant Reiki, you know, when you're level 2, you get that. But it's the same thing as prayer. It's the same thing as like really infusing an intention into something. So just like I would Reiki a person, I'll take the garment, I'll send the Reiki in it, and I'll ask the Reiki to do specific things depending on what the intention is. I mean, ultimately to support the person in the way that they need the most. Yeah. But obviously if someone's like, ooh, I want these overalls that are specifically addressing grief, well, I think they resonated with the fact that they're holding some kind of grief. So for the Reiki to support the heart chakra, you know, ground the person down so that they're in their body, so they can feel their emotions. So whatever comes to me that would feel nice and supportive for whatever that theme is, I'm going to like infuse into the garment. For this one, I want it to be super creative. I want it to be expressive with these colors, you know. Yeah. So that's what I was infusing into those garments to support those chakras. I'm really thinking about chakras mostly. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And then, you said where to find me. Oh, so we are definitely on the up and up. Okay. I am fresh out the Boundless Blueprint. I'm not that fresh out the Boundless, but it's still in this year. So things are still coming together. But I would love for people to be able to see this journey from its inception for the most part. So you can follow me on Instagram at Dayevenite, DAYEVENITE. And my website is also dateevenight.com. And then you can sign up there for the newsletter to be up to date on what's happening, all things that I'm doing, if I have some Reiki openings or if the overalls are ready to go. I think I might film myself as I build out my closet. So if a new YouTube video drops about that,
Yes.
people will be able to see that information. So that's where you can find me at.
I love it. Yay. And then also, as a person who has gone through this process, what advice would you give to someone that was like you maybe a year ago?
My advice, there's so many things. It's important not to do things. Okay, how do I want to say this? Make sure as much of you is on board as you can before you jump. And I'm not saying like sans fear, sans like, all the things. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like our mind, just thinking like mind, body, spirit.
Yes.
I had to get my mind, my body, and my spirit on board before the conditions could meet me, before I can make this step. And how I did that was I put the support and the resources around me that I could. They popped up for me, the newsletter with the Boundless Blueprint. I did work with Peter Ferry. I have acupuncture and massage therapy to calm my nervous system. I was just recognizing all the things that I needed in order to support my mind, my body, and my spirit towards that direction. And that's my biggest piece of advice would be figure out what's holding up your body. Well, your spirit is usually on board for something that's like, that's the one that's like, girl, go. Get it. Okay, but how do you get your body on board and how do you get your mind on board and figure out what's your mind's holdup? For me, it was like, girl, how you gonna pay rent? Girl, how you gonna, get the coin together? Also for me, it was like my nervous system was so unregulated. My body felt so much tense energy and stress from my environment. So my body was saying like, I really need to be out of this environment in order for me to be able to build these businesses. I can't do it actually, so how do I start to try to get my body together while I still got to work this job? So that's my biggest piece of advice. Get your mind, body, and spirit together. And that doesn't mean that like, I'm not still a little afraid. I was like, I'm actually not afraid at all. But sometimes you got to jump a little bit when you're not afraid. When you are afraid, you still got to do a little something. So I want to distinguish that. But I think that's my biggest piece of advice.
Amazing. Yay. Well, I look forward. Wait, what are some of the drop dates? What are you thinking some of the drop dates might be?
Come on, Boundless Blueprint.
I know.
Get a schedule.
I know.
Y'all,
this is what I do. This is what I do.
Yes, Tawn's like, give me a schedule. When your first round of patterns gonna be done, Dayonna? When you about to drop these?
No, people are excited about this.
I really want January. Yeah, I'm excited about this. January is my tentative date where people can expect to do pre-orders for overalls from me.
Okay. And in the meantime, just follow your journey.
That's my first thing. Follow me.
All of this. And I'll put the link
as like, oh yay.
All the links will be in the description.
It's not, like I said, y'all gonna witness this grow over time. So get in at the bottom. So y'all can be like, yep, day one, Day Eve nights,
Yeah.
So that's special to me. So thank you all. For anybody who follows or decides to get a Reiki session or buys overalls, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to you, Tawn. I could not have done this without you, without my entire village that keeps my body together, my mind together, my spirit together. That's the most priceless thing to me. It's so I'm so grateful. Thank you for saying yes to your offerings, because if you didn't say yes to the callings that came to you, then I might not have said yes to mine and had this beautiful experience. So thank you. And I'm excited for you and your journey and this podcast.
Yes. I'm excited about this too. And then you're just here to also be inspiration to others, and then get y'all to move with spirit, get you to move in that way. And your advice that you gave was so great and in line, where it's like, mind, body, spirit, get it together. And it's hard work. It's not easy, but you did it. I did it. And there's going to be other folks that hopefully through this podcast and through what I want to showcase, like you can do it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
And
do it.
honestly,
Yeah.
I've watched so many of these little videos of like, girl, you could do it. If I did it, you could do it. And I'd be like, oh, whatever. But it's for real.
It's true.
Real.
It's so
real.
true. Yeah. Yay. Well, thank you, Dayonna. And I hope you have a good one. And I'll link everything in the bottom notes so that you can check Dayonna out and then follow her journey from day one until launch day. And I think it'll be exciting to watch. And also get Reiki from her.
Thank you,
yes.
Tawn.
Yes. All right. Bye, everyone.